Hello everyone, and welcome to DFW 2.0. This is an explanatory video for class test number 3. It's a little bit late this time, but I think you will have time to look at it during today and maybe tonight. It's just some of the highlights. Maybe it will be useful for you. I have uploaded two of the exams, and I want you to look at them. But I will go now over the structure of the test and maybe some of the comments. Now, this test is covering actually week 6, 7, and 8, which is liquidity. Now, in the liquidity side, I want you to be aware of the first part of it, which when we talked about this area, when we talked about the area of this is the area where we talked about it. The size of the balance sheet and the purchase liquidity. We talked also about stored liquidity and what would happen to the balance sheet when we finance when the liquidity problems come from the asset side and we finance it either from the stored liquidity or from the purchase liquidity. The other case, when the liquidity problem is coming from the liability side, which is deposit withdrawals, and then we finance it from the asset side, which is the stored liquidity or the purchase liquidity. There'll be some impacts on the balance sheet. I think there is, you have to be aware what will happen to the balance sheet under those four cases. Now, we also talked about the measurements, and the measurements are very important, whether we are talking about the theoretical ones like the liquidity planning, or when we are talking about some of the ones that have some calculations. And the one has calculations is the liquidity index, and we have the financing gap, and we have some problems about all of this. The first part, which we talked about it when we are talking about liquidity reasons, which is this part, as I told you, or this part, which we are talking about now, the measurements. We have some, we covered this in the tutorial and in the workshop. Please look at those. Now, in the workshop for the liquidity 6, we didn't actually did the workshop because we had a test, but I have uploaded for you at the workshop and the solutions. So I want you to be aware of those measurements, and I want you to be aware of all those issues, which means the first part. Now, I actually, when we talked about the balance sheet, this is just some of the other, about the liquidity risk, we talked about liabilities. And when we talked about liabilities, actually, we talked about this. I don't want you to be worried about this. And this is just a financial product. Maybe we'll talk about it in the final or something, but here, nothing here, nothing here. Now, this liquidity risk is actually 4 parts. 5 parts. Now, this part, when we talk about it, see, ignore both part 4 and 5, except for the trade-off of funding costs. Now, when we talk about the part 4 and part 5, this is actually part 4. You can ignore all of this. I just want you to be aware of this. This is when we say the trade-off between the funding risk and the liquidity funding cost. Be aware of this, please. And then you can ignore all of this except for this issue when we talked about, I want you to be aware of this calculation when we talk about the implicit interest rate. we have two problems here, and I think I want you to be aware of this and this. This is slide, this is slides, and this is slide. I don't know what to talk about else and liquidity, but the liquidity, old exams, we have two old exams for the liquidity. And in these old exams, actually, there was nothing about liquidity, but last exam, when I uploaded for you the old test for test 2, there was something about liquidity, and I told you there not to concentrate on it. Now you can go back to those old tests of test 2 and just look at the problems of the old test of liquidity, because it's not here. So here, it was a different structure for those tests. So actually here we are not covering liquidity in this old test, but it is mentioned the problem of it, the problem related to those to liquidity is actually in old test 2, which I uploaded for you for test 2. So please look at the old test for test 2. You'll find some problem about liquidity. The rest here are all the solutions, and I have uploaded this earlier in the week. I think you have looked at this. This is about liquidity. Now, when we come to the credit risk one, this issue, I want you to be not to worry about it. It's another financial products, which means this area in week 7, don't worry about it, because in week 7, we talk about the modeling and the credit scoring. And we talked about the linear probability model and logit model and the L-span model. So in week 7, I want you actually to look at those issues. Let me just look at here. So if you come here, for example, we talked about here about the type of loans. So this area, what are those loans? I don't know what. You don't have to worry about this. All of this, don't worry about it. So you can ignore it because it's another financial product. Now, when we come to the contractual problem, the contractual return and the expected return, please be aware of it, especially this formula. Now, I can give you this formula as I explain it in part 2 and workshop number 7, which I recorded for you. I can give you all this data, and in the same time, I will not ask you to calculate the K, but I will ask you to calculate the expected return, especially when we have collateral. So in this case, and I explained this very clearly, and workshop number 7, part 2, which I recorded for you. So you have to calculate the K. If I give you all this information, and they give you the collateral, and they give you the probability of payments, you will be able to calculate the expected return. So we have dealt with this in the tutorial, and we have dealt about it in the workshop. Now for the modeling, we have to be aware that we have 3 about this ones. We have all of those, and you have to be also aware of the calculations of the Altman and the I think we have problems about the Altman. I don't know, but if it is there, you know, it's everything is already here. You can look at it. I think there is no more about it except for those issues, because most of the modeling actually is coming in week 8. And in week 8, as you can see, so this is what I told you. This is I want you to be aware of. We talked about the credit management, judgmental approach, and credit scoring. And this is when we started talking about the credit scoring. Uh, I think we talked about something in the workshop about the other qualitative things like reputation, leverage, volatility of earning, and all these issues. And I want you to be aware of it, please. Now, in the week 8 credit risk models. Now, in the credit risk models, you remember we have all those models. Now, all of those models, you can look at them and tell here I'm not going to test you in all of them, but sometimes I will ask you what are the models for the linear probability. I will ask you what other models, but under the portfolio risk, which is this one, the portfolio. Now we have some models which are here. We have the concentration risk under the single loan risk. Actually, please be aware of the option pricing. Now, option pricing will be very straightforward if it comes. The RORAC and the option pricing will be, you should be aware of it. It's very easy. It's very straightforward because you will give all the data and all the information, and you have to calculate either the value of the loan or you calculate the premium. And we have discussed this in the workshop tutorial, and I think it's mentioned some of those problems in the old tests. You have also to understand a little bit about the theory of this of the option pricing. Now, I don't think this one you don't have to worry about it, okay? We talk about the derivatives. Please forget it for now. You don't have to worry about it. I don't think I have a problem about it. Maybe if there is a problem, it will be only a definition, no calculations about it. Managing credit risk through securitization. This is, if it comes into its only theory. We can sometimes sell the loans, and when we sell the loans, we avoid the credit risks. I don't know that there is something else I can remember now. We just scanned the test and looked at it, but this is most of the issues that I want you to look at it. I want you also to be aware of the and the concentration risk. You have to be aware of the this one, model portfolio theory. When you calculate the return and when you calculate the return, and also when you calculate the return, and also when we calculate the standard deviation of it. So model portfolio theory, look at it. We have problems in the slides. We built it in the slides. I explained it a little bit in the tutorial, but most of it is actually in the slides. Model portfolio theory. I think we have one problem or two problems, and I think we have discussed it in the workshop. Look at the workshop 8. We have the talk, we have this industry speaker, but actually I uploaded for you also the tutorial, the workshop and its solutions. All in all, when we talk about the test, this is the structure of the test. It will be, tomorrow, Tuesday, and then which is tomorrow actually. And this is the structure of it. It will be 25 questions, and then divide it like this. This is I think you are aware already of all those, resources. You don't have to listen to the recordings now if you haven't listened at them. Maybe you have listened to them long time ago. But if there is anything you want to know about those issues I talked, you can go back and listen to the recording. Listen also to the recording of week 7, part 2. That one is important. With this, I think I am done. I will see you tomorrow. If I'm happy with the test, I will announce the results after the test. Actually, I tried to moderate the test and make it not very difficult, not like last semesters, but don't depend on that. It actually, if I have say, maybe it is easier than what I have before, but maybe if you are not ready, you may see it difficult. So don't rely on what I'm saying, just do your best. And I wish you look at this recording and use it. Thank you very much and wish you the best and see you tomorrow. Bye.